Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Random Vlogging! Actually, on Wednesday, when it's supposed to be. So I'm finally done with this stupid move. Just a bit of advice. If you would like to, I don't know, move, and you decide that, I can, big stuff I'll need help on, but all the little stuff I can do on my own and the cleaning I can do on my own, slap yourself in the face and never ever do it, because it's hell. I had the worst week I have had in years last week because I did all the cleaning on my own, and other than like the really big stuff that I had a couple really awesome guys, like my best friend and one of the guys from my D&D table were nice enough to help me out with that and lent vehicles and things like that. It was really, really great. So I was very happy about that. The rest of it I did completely 100% on my own, and it was miserable and I hated it. But it's done, it's over, and I still have all this crap that I have to clean up, obviously. So I'm working on that. Second update on working out. So I was supposed to work out on Thursday and Sunday, and I didn't because I was moving all day and working really, really hard anyway. So I'm like, you know what? It's not worth hurting my body even more after I was already in an immense amount of pain from lifting things and doing things that my body didn't want to do. That sounded really dirty, but it wasn't. Um, so yeah, I skipped it, and so I did I attempted to do my workout last night. Here's another tip. Pro tips from Jody. So I had really big meal, kind of late. Like my mom and I actually went out to Applebee's just because neither of us wanted to cook. And so we're like, well, let's go out and get some food. And so I had a really nice meal. I had half rack of ribs, and it was really good. And we had some desserts. So really great dieting type food. And then I get home and I notice that it's almost 11 o'clock. And I know, just because of how my brain works, if I put off this workout any longer, I'm not going to get it done. I'm just going to forget it, and I don't want to do that. I really want to stick to this workout schedule. So last night I started doing my workout, and a couple things changed. First of all, for the past 2 weeks I've been doing this workout. After every time that I was done with it, I felt miserable. I felt absolutely horrible because I'd worked myself half to death. I didn't this time. I got through. I do 100 jumping jacks, and normally, again, I'm super out of shape, so please don't judge me. Um, I do 100 jumping jacks, and by the end of it, I'm breathing so hard that I'm about ready to pass out, and everything hurts. And that's just from 100 jumping jacks. And then I have a bunch of other exercises that I do. And it normally takes me somewhere between about 15 to 20 minutes, which is good for me. As I get better at it, I will be adding more things on and actually doing a real workout. So I did that, and I felt great. I was breathing heavy, but that's kind of the point of it. But I didn't, my muscles weren't hurting. I didn't feel like I was drowning or anything like that. It was just, I'd worked. And so I was doing the rest of my stuff on a full stomach. This is not a good idea. But I didn't feel bad at all until I got to, I think it's the third to last exercise I do, which are burpees. If you're not familiar with what a burpee is, you start in kind of like a crouched position, and then you shoot your feet out, so you get into like a push-up position, and then you jump your feet back in, and then you jump into the air. And so it's this thing where you start here, and then let's go this way. So like you start here, and then you kick your feet out like that, and it goes in, and then you jump in the air, and it's actually a really good aerobic workout because it works a lot of different muscle groups, and it gets your whole body involved. However, when you have a full stomach, it's not a good idea to be jumping up and down and flipping around. I got really sick after about 7 of them, which again, for me, that's a lot because I'm really, really out of shape. So after 7 of them, I'm starting to feel like I'm drowning because I can't breathe enough. And so normally what happens in this specific instance, as I walk around and I do breathing exercises, because I've been doing breathing exercises for years, from martial arts and meditation and things like that. So I know how to calm myself down when I get panicked, which has been really, really useful with all the panic attacks I've been having. So I'm trying to, and I can't get it to work. I'm just feeling horrible and horrible and horrible. Long story short, the entire meal that I ate became uneaten. And it was at that point I'm like, you know what? I'm done with the workout for tonight. I did most of it, and it's at that point, if you push yourself hard enough to lose the meal that you just ate, you're done. You're done for the night. So, yes, lesson learned, don't work out. Like, it had been like 45 minutes since I ate, so I thought it would be safe. It was a huge meal, leave more time for digestion. So, yeah, that was not fun. Um, Otherwise, yeah, life has been kind of interesting to say the least. Um, I realize that this video is already, past the 5 minute mark, but I want to talk about something today that I will guarantee is going to piss a lot of people off. There's probably a really good chance I'm going to lose a couple followers over it because my personal opinion on this matter is 100% not popular. I know this for a fact. And while my intention is not to insult people, I know it's going to happen because this is a really touchy subject right now. But it's something that I want to talk about because I'm really getting sick of what I'm seeing. I'm not going to single anybody out um, because we've all done it at one point or another, to be perfectly honest. But I want to say in the last year or two, it has gotten insane. And that is when something happens that you don't agree with, you take it to an extreme that is not possible and then spew forth this complete and utter fallacy as fact. And I hate it. I vehemently despise it because it is the most pedantic and moronic thing I have seen people do. And I am seeing unbelievably intelligent, well-informed people doing it, specifically because of what happened on Monday. For those of you that are not aware of how things have been going in the US, there is a company, it is called Hobby Lobby. It is actually a very good place. I've shopped there before. They're really, really cool. It is owned by a family named the Green family, which is a devout Christian family that owns and runs the entire business. Because of how they have run the business, they started as a single store in some crazy small town, and now they have like over 600 stores. And I mean, it's amazing what they've done, and they've run it on the Christian principles that has served their family and their personal lives very well. When the Obamacare, or the actual official name of it is the Affordable Health Care Act, came out, it set forth certain guidelines for what was required by law for employers, for-profit employers, to offer their full-time employees as far as healthcare coverage was concerned. And one of the things that was in there was businesses in the U.S. now have to pay the full cost for contraception for women. Women's contraception, they don't pay anything for it as long as they're employed and have benefits through their employer. And I believe, I may be wrong on this, I believe that is a mandate for all health insurance programs. Now, for those of you that this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, our healthcare system is really screwed up. It really, really is. And the Affordable Health Care Act was one of the ways that our government tried to fix it. It didn't work. I don't care what you say, it's broken. It's not going to work. The Affordable Health Care Act was a bad idea. It really was. Because it tried to fix the things it thought was wrong, and it's not. If you want to see a really good video, the Vlog Brothers did this really, really great explanation of what's wrong with the American healthcare system, and it's beautifully, beautifully done. And explains that there is no quick fix to fixing our healthcare system. It's massively broken, and the only way we're ever going to fix it is we basically have to dismantle the entire thing and start from scratch. And we're never going to do that because our economy could not fix that. So right now, we're simply just screwed until someone a lot smarter than anyone in this country is right now comes up with a great plan. So anyway, enough about my rant about the Affordable Health Care Act. So some of the contraceptions that the Affordable Health Care Act forces companies to cover are things like the morning after pill, or it's also called Plan B, and some intrauterine devices that the Green family believes causes fertilized eggs to not be allowed to implant. And their belief structure says basically that life begins at conception. As soon as the egg is fertilized, that is a human being. That's what they consider it, and that's their personal belief, and that's fine. And they support it with their religion. And to be perfectly honest, I agree with that aspect of it. I do believe that as soon as the egg is fertilized, it deserves life. And I am a pro-life person. I'm not particularly fond of the idea of abortion or anything like that. But this isn't about my personal beliefs right now. So what happened was they did not want to pay for things that would cause abortions, which by their definition was a fertilized egg, not being able to implant a fertilized egg, being ejected from the room without being allowed to implant. Because at that point, from their belief structure, that that being is dying because you're not allowing it to grow. Okay. So they went to court over it, and they went to appeal after appeal after appeal. Finally made its way to the Supreme Court. And on Monday, the Supreme Court made the decision of that companies that are owned and operated by a very small group of people, where the business itself is not distinguishable from the people that are running it, are allowed to object to things like that because it puts a religious burden on them. I think this is an unbelievably surprising turn of events. I was not expecting it. I was expecting Hobby Lobby, technically I was expecting Hobby Lobby to go out of business, because from everything that they've said thus far, I sincerely doubt that they would have kept the mandate. Had they offered health insurance without those things covered, they were going to be fined millions of dollars a day. If they didn't offer health insurance at all, they would have been fined a significantly lower amount per year. It was like 20 or 30 million a year that they would be fined because of that. And I was fairly certain that it was just going to be no. They were going to close their doors because they were going to take a stand for what they believe in, which I think is admirable. So when this happened, the internet exploded. It went crazy with all these people going, oh, well, now Christians can do this and this and this, and they can do this and this and this. And it's all bullshit. It's 100% bullshit. All of the crap that I have seen about how horrible this is, and how, all these companies are going to abuse this and do all these horrible things, and this is an affront to women, is nuts. First things first. The biggest thing that I have seen is this idea that this business is preventing women access to contraceptive health care just because of their personal belief. They're not. Okay? They are not paying for count it, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 of 16 different types of birth control. 16 different types are covered, but 4 are not. Therefore, obviously, they're robbing women of their rights. They're not. Okay? Women have access 100% free to 16 forms of birth control. The only ones that they are blocking are the ones that they believe cause abortions, which 2 of which on their labels specifically mention, yes, the way that it works is that it, I may be saying this wrong, so forgive me. I'm not an expert. I believe it was something to the effect where it thickens the uterine walls or something like that, and prevents the egg from implanting. That's the purpose of it. And because it does that, it works well. That's kind of the point of it. And if you don't believe that life begins at fertilization, then it's not a big deal to you. Okay? These people do. So no, they are not preventing women from accessing birth control. They are not paying for things that they don't believe in. These women can still go off and get these birth control methods if they want. They're not going to get fired. They're not going to get persecuted or anything like that. It's just this company's not going to pay for this stuff. And they have 16 other options to look at. So no, that's not happening. Second of all, these people get paid better than pretty much anyone I've ever seen. Minimum wage in this country is, I believe it's $7.25 is what minimum wage is right now. And they're working on making it higher. Minimum wage for a full-time employee at Hobby Lobby is $14. It's 90%, I believe the number I saw was like 90% higher than the federal minimum wage. He pays these people really well. So if they wanted to pay for it out of pocket because they decided that's the way that they want to go and they don't have the objections that the owners do, they could probably still buy it and make more than your average person working in retail making minimum wage. Even their part-time employees make something like $9 an hour. So no, that doesn't work. So, and that was one example. And there's been other ones where it's like, well, now business, any business can just claim legal, religious reasons for doing this or that and that, which is complete bull honky. It's impossible for them to do that because the ruling specifically states it has to be a company that is owned by a small group of people where the business is indistinguishable from the people that are running it. So Walmart can't go off and say, well, we have religious, all of these, it doesn't work that way. No one's actually read the law. They just immediately latched onto this and said, well, we're going to do this. And this is happening a lot. And this is not just about Hobby Lobby that's upsetting me about it. This is time after time. The religious rights bill that attempted to get passed in Arizona and then did get passed in, I want to say it's either Michigan or Minnesota, one of the M states, was touted, boy, I can't talk, was touted as this incredible anti-gay bill. It had nothing to do with gay rights. It was completely separate from it. It had everything to do with the fact that there are religious business owners that are getting sued and made to pay huge fines because they would not do something like the reason that the law got started in Arizona was the fact that there was a photographer, a Christian photographer, that had a gay couple come up or not come up. They emailed her and requested that she photograph their union ceremony, which, because I believe at least at that point in New Mexico, there and I'm actually not sure if they've changed it at all. But gay marriage was not legal in New Mexico at that time. And so what happened is she said, sorry, I don't do that. But thank you for checking out my website. I really do appreciate it. But I'm a Christian and I don't support that. I don't believe in it. And they sued her and she was forced to pay them, I think it's $6,000 or something like that in legal fees. This is an artist who is being asked to use her art to celebrate something she didn't believe in. And she got sued and lost. And this is happening all over the country with very similar situations. And I would love to come up with a really great situation that doesn't involve a Christian business. I just haven't seen them as much. And if you guys have seen similar situations, please put them in the comments below. Because it's a touchy subject for me because, again, I am a Christian. All of these things were all about, well, this is going to cause, this is going to make it so that, gay people will be discriminated against everywhere across the world. This law in Arizona that was vetoed rather mightily by the governor down there. So it turned to this thing where it's going to allow restaurants to tell gay people that they're not allowed to eat there. No, it didn't. Nobody actually read the law. I actually went and read the law, which if you ever get a chance to do that, don't. They're unbelievably complicated and boring and really hard to understand. I understand now why lawyers pay so much, because the migraine meds that they have to buy to deal with this crap must be expensive. But I read the law, and it had very specific things in there that stated that no, you can't just randomly go, well, I have a religious objection to you, so no. No, this was just that if you are a religious business owner and you run your business, and this is how it works, and and it's been so long since I read the law, and I don't even know if you can find it anymore since it was vetoed. But it was just the idea of Arizona saw that something happened to this person that shouldn't have happened. That she was not the only wedding photographer in the world, even in the state, probably in the city that she lived in. But they chose that because they felt offended by it, that they were going to sue her. And because of the anti-discrimination laws, they decided that, well, no, you're discriminating against them, and therefore you should be made to pay. And you see it literally, I mean, what is it, the Church of England right now, last time I heard, this may have changed. Last time I heard, they were being sued by a gay couple because they told them flat out, "Very sorry, but you can't have your gay wedding in our church because we don't support uh, gay marriage. We think that it's a sin." And the UK, when they legalized gay marriage across the UK, which is really cool, they specifically mentioned in the law the Church of England is exempt from this because it's their um, federal church or whatever. It's a government run church. And so they specifically said, no, these guys are exempt. They're still getting sued, even though it specifically says. And even if it gets thrown out of court, the average discrimination lawsuit, for those of you that don't know, the average discrimination lawsuit costs anywhere from about $70,000 to $150,000 just for litigation. That's all the crap that the lawyers do before it goes to trial. Even if all it does is go to trial and they win, it will cost most companies $150,000 just to defend themselves in a discrimination lawsuit. It's nuts. So that's what it was about. And this is something that I'm seeing over and over and over again. And I don't want this to just be about religion. I mean, this is something that I see all the time. Something happens where people don't like the result, and what they do is they don't understand the situation completely, and then they take it to an extreme that is completely impossible, and then they spew it forth as fact, and it's horrible. And why do we do that? If it's a law, take 4 years, get a degree in law, and then attempt to read the stupid law. Anything else, take 30 minutes. Actually find out, and don't trust the news, because it doesn't matter which news source you are getting it from, it is biased. We do not have unbiased news in this country anywhere. A large portion of them tend to have a liberal bias. Fox tends to have a conservative bias. They all have a very large bias. And if you don't believe me, read any story from any news source about the Hobby Lobby case and look to see if it provides both sides of the argument. Look to see if it actually mentions that they cover 16 out of 20 contraceptives. Any of the liberal ones will not mention that whatsoever. From a conservative side, look to see if it covers any of the grievances of the other party. They don't, because that doesn't sell newspapers. People want to see angry things that they agree with. They don't want an impartial view, and that's horrible. So take the time, actually learn about, oh, good, I just thought of a really great example of this that has nothing to do with religion. Because I know a lot of people are going to go, well, it's just because you're a Christian. Okay, no, really good thing. So Facebook, and I did a rant about this a while ago. So Facebook had this amazing little story that said, don't donate to these charities because they do nothing for anyone except make their CEOs richer. And one of the things on there was, don't donate to Goodwill. For those of you that don't, for a little while, was actually employed by Goodwill. They're a fantastic company. I got training from them that taught me everything that Goodwill does. They claimed that nothing of the money that you spend at Goodwill goes to helping anybody, and it all just goes to line people's pockets. Guess what, folks? That is 100% a lie. There is no truth to that whatsoever. If I remember correctly, my numbers may be wrong, because it's been over a year, almost a year and a half now since I worked for them. But I believe it's 81 or 82 cents of every dollar that you spend in a Goodwill store goes towards helping other people. Whether it is supporting their adult daycare for adults that need supervision, so if you have a family member that you have to take care of because of severe mental or physical disabilities, you can take it to one of these adult daycare centers 100% free of charge. And they will make sure that they're being cared for right, that they're interacting with people, that they're having social interaction, which you can't do on your own. And you can go out and have an actual life. That is 100% free, and it's unbelievably expensive. They have career centers where you can come in and you can type up your resume using a computer for free. You can go in for free advice about how to interview. They will look over your resume and make sure you've got it done correctly. These people do amazing things. And yet, this little thing that was spread all over Facebook, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that, it was going everywhere. Talked about how the only thing that they mentioned was the fact that the CEO made, millions of dollars, and they said, well, that's all you're doing is you're helping to pay him, and you should never support them again. It's a bold-faced lie. When you actually looked into it, I can't remember if it was him or one of the other CEOs where they said he made this much, and it was a complete and utter fallacy. Um, and this is happening all the time, is that we find something that we object to for whatever reason. Rich people tends to be a really popular one after the 99% rallies and that. Anyone that makes money is evil now in this country. And then we make up crap about it, and then we spew it forth as truth, and it's 100% lies, and it's got to stop. Stop spreading things like this. Look into yourself. Look to the actual source and read this stuff. Find out what the actual truth is, and then form an opinion. If you're upset about the Hobby Lobby thing because you think those 4 contraceptives that they don't cover are 100% essential, and you have facts and things to back it up, fantastic. Congratulations. You are smarter than probably 99% of the population of this country. However, if you're upset about it because you think that Christians are running the government now, and this is some bizarre thing of separation of church and state is over, and that corporations are going to use this to stop paying people anything and stop paying taxes and oppress women and all that, please just shut up. Just shut up. Don't talk anymore. Find a hole in the ground to stick your head in and just live there for a while, because you don't understand what is going on, and all you're doing is fueling the idiocy. And it needs to stop. We need to be more informed. We need to actually know what's happening. We need to know what the actual problems are, as opposed to the pretend problems that the media pushes on us. And I am, quote unquote, I run a YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing coverage for conventions and things like that. I am a pseudo media. I'm not really. But I get to do little things, like I get to interview people and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing stuff like that. And I believe in freedom of the press and that, but the freedom of the press has turned into, let's print whatever we want and slant it whatever way that we want. This is horrible. We need to stop listening to what other people tell us, and we need to start looking to see what the actual facts are. Because this is nuts! This is phenomenally stupid! And it's such a minor thing. Everyone made this huge deal about this Hobby Lobby case. Everyone made this huge deal about this law that was going to affect next to nobody. Just a few religious businesses. And they made it like it was the end of the world. No, let's worry about the real problems that we have. Let's worry about the fact that unemployment is almost as high as it was in the Great Depression. That's a huge problem. Let's deal with the fact that the unemployment statistics we get from the government are skewed, because they intentionally leave out a large portion of the population specifically to make the numbers look better. Let's talk about the fact that we have human trafficking happening in my state. City of Milwaukee is one of the largest hotbeds for human trafficking in the country. That's insane. Who the hell cares about what Hobby Lobby is doing? There are women out there that are being stolen and forced to sell their bodies and not make a dime off it, because the people that are trafficking them make all the money. They are ruined fundamentally for life. They are changed. And yet we are focusing on the fact that a company does not want to offer things that it finds morally, or pay for things that it finds morally objectionable, due to the fact that it has run its business for years based on the principles found in its religious doctrine. Dear God, how stupid can we be? So that's my little rant. I realize this is a super, super long video, and if you've made it this far, thank you. Feel free to leave. No, I'm not going to say that. Again, if you were able to find good examples of exactly what I'm talking about, feel free to put them in the comments below. If all you're going to do is spew forth more lies, I'm going to delete your comment. I'm going to tell you that right now, because I'm tired of it. Before I delete your comment, I'm going to chew you out royally. And I'm not the kind of person that you want doing that, because I'm incredibly intelligent, and when I'm angry, I stop caring about how people feel, which is why I'm saying this. If I had a brain in my head, I would have shut my mouth probably about 20 minutes ago and just said, yeah, my workout was really fun, and then I threw up. And it's not going to happen because I'm too stupid to do that. So anyone that actually watched the entirety of this, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are listening to this. Anyone that unsubscribes to me or unfollows me on Twitter or anything, have fun. I'm sorry that you don't like my personal opinion on the matter, and I'm sorry you don't like the fact that I got angry about this, but this is stupid. It really is. We shouldn't be doing this. Um, I understand that women's rights and things like that is a touchy subject, especially with everything that's happened so far. I'm still a very staunch supporter of women's rights and of like the SR women stuff. I think there are massive problems in this country and they need to be fixed. And it's not just women, although they have a lot of crap that's going on that needs to stop. I believe in gay rights. I believe in that as well. I think that they've been discriminated against for many, many reasons, and minority rights. I see discrimination on a daily basis. Not so much in the town that I'm in now because the diversity here is not quite as large as it was in Milwaukee. But in Milwaukee, I saw it on a daily basis. It's horrible. It's horrendous. It needs to stop. So I'm not saying that these things are important, but what I am saying is we need to stop fixating on things that we think are problems when they actually aren't, and we need to stop listening to the or we need to stop getting spoon-fed by these media outlets and by these rights advocacy groups that their only purpose is to bully other people that don't agree with them. We need to start figuring out what are the real problems, what is the actual truth of these things that are happening, and then forming our own opinions based on fact and logic and not emotional arguments and hyperbole. So that's all. I promise tomorrow I will have a much, much cooler, much, much shorter vlog, but I really wanted to talk about this. And I'm really sorry it went so long. I'm really sorry about how angry I got about this, but it's been upsetting me that every time I went to Twitter and every time I went to Facebook, I saw all these lies going around, basically told by people that had no idea what was actually going on in the situation, and then everyone else assumed that they were fact, and they're not. They're bull honky. They're crazy. They're nuts. All right. So again, that's all for me today. Thank you so much, anyone that made it to the end of this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow for some more random vlogging. And I promise it'll be a lot shorter. Okay, bye-bye.